20s turned into the 30s, Universal Studios were clicking on all cylinders. They had pretty much launched into the decade with the two-piece of Dracula and Frankenstein, both doing really well and both being received pretty well by critics. So Universal was on their way to being the horror juggernauts for the decade. But in 1932, the same year, a year after Frankenstein, James Whale and Boris Karloff would team up yet again, this time for an entirely different movie. Well, different to a certain extent. The Old Dark House was a movie that was initially not received super well, at least not as well as Frankenstein. However, over time, the movie has gotten better and better and been received more favorably by critics and horror fans alike, which is really good because at the time, the movie was initially considered lost. After Universal had lost the rights to the film and to the story it was based on, it essentially went into not the public domain, but kind of the phantom zone, and no one really knew what to do with it. It essentially became a lost film like London After Midnight, starring Lon Chaney Sr., one of the greatest lost movies of all time. No one has ever found it. However, James Whale, the director of this movie, had a writing partner named Charles Harrington. He eventually found the movie, had it restored, and now it is available to watch on DVD, physical media, and streaming. And thank God, too, because this is a very effective horror movie, with atmosphere being just the key to driving it home. The movie takes place during a torrential rainstorm. Like, you're not going anywhere in this rain. It takes place just after World War I. There is this couple, they are traveling on the road, and they just realize, we can't do this, we can't travel in this. And so they find the first house they can find, the Old Dark House. The house is owned by Horace and Rebecca Femme, played by Ernest Thesiger and Ava Moore, respectively. They're both not in their right minds, let's just say, and it has not helped things when their manservant named Morgan shows up, played by Boris Karloff. It's a house full of secrets, and this couple has to survive it and survive the night. This is a movie with no score. The only music you really hear is the rain, and the rain provides so much in the fact that these people are pretty much doomed to stay in this house overnight with people who are a few fries short of a Happy Meal, let's just say. The most normal one of the bunch is Horace Femme, played by Ernest Thesiger, who would later go on to be Dr. Pretorius in The Bride of Frankenstein a year after this. He at least tries to be somewhat hospitable to the couple, even offering them gin and potatoes. That's literally, like, his favorite things in this movie. He offers them potatoes, he says, "Have a potato." Like, he's more into potatoes than Sam from The Lord of the Rings.
Potatoes.
Rebecca is the saltier of the siblings, and more often than not will basically keep Horace in check, even though it's kind of biting how she does it. And like I said, the movie shows that this house is, well, not all it claims to be. Basically, this house is full of secrets. There's someone named Saul, the other Femme sibling, living in the basement, and then there is a woman who is dying, played by Gloria Stewart. If that name doesn't sound super familiar, Gloria Stewart would have a long and lengthy career, but would have a bit of a resurgence in the late 90s when she played the old version of Rose from Titanic. She drops the necklace off of the ship at the end. Really, I haven't really seen atmosphere matched like this since a movie we got last year called Bodies, 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 where a bunch of people are stranded in this house, and because they have nowhere to go, they essentially turn on each other. And while the Old Dark House is nowhere near as extreme as Bodies, Bodies, Bodies would end up being, you definitely get the sense of these people basically having nowhere to go, and paranoia begins to set in, and it doesn't end super well for some of them. Boris Karloff is, of course, great as Morgan. He really got a reputation as being these mute brutes like Frankenstein, which is a bit of a shame because the dude could more than hold his own with very meaty dialogue. See the original The Mummy movie. No, not the Brendan Fraser one, the one from the 30s from Universal, where he plays not the like the traditional mummy. Like he plays a mummy that actually speaks and has a clear mission of why he does the things that he does in order to get his long lost love back. The Old Dark House is severely underrated, especially from this era in which Universal could pretty much do no wrong in the horror world. I cannot recommend this one enough. It's a hidden gem of this genre.